I appeared in court, asked Judge Hoare if this could be admissible and if I could have the outside evaluation. And Dr. McKay and three other members of a panel with a psychiatrist and two other doctors, so there will be four of them on the panel, do this independent review. Judge Hoare promptly said no, that wasn't what he'd ordered. He didn't have the power to give me the okay to do it outside the province, and I would have to go and have the psychiatric evaluation done with Dr. David Craig. So on April the 3rd, I had no choice but to see Dr. Craig. I went to see him at the All Science on the first floor of his office. We spoke for an hour. I asked him if he would mind if I would audio tape what I'd said in his office, because for me it was a learning experience. I hadn't done this before, and I'd like to keep a record of it for myself. So he said, sure, you can do that. So I did. It was a perfect recording, every word. I was there for an hour. When I'd finished, I thought that possibly I didn't have to go back to court till April the 8th, that there would be further meetings. But apparently, for 1 hour was the entire extent of this psychiatric evaluation. So for me, I thought this man's incredibly smart, or I must be terribly crazy. So anyway, it only took an hour. After we'd finished, he noticed my wife was there and asked if he could speak with her. And first she said no, and then she said, yeah, okay, I will. If I don't like the questions, I'll just leave. So she sat with him for about 5 minutes. And out of an hour and 5 minutes, we go back to court on April the 8th. Our Dr. David Craig, who's a very qualified psychiatrist, came to court as a witness and declared that I am delusional, and everything that I have been saying for more than 40 years is apparently my imagination, and all of the questions that have never been answered, the DNA test that's never been taken, says that he's informed that it's been proven that Mr. Hickman is innocent and I'm delusional and I need therapy and drugs, and recommends that I be hospitalized and given a particular treatment which is very strong. And that is now where I sit. Judge Orr asked me if I wanted to get a second opinion out of the province at my own expense. And I said, Your Honor, I at least had to check it out and see what I can do, because as far as I understand and from what I think is I'm perfectly sane. And he said, well, I had decided before I ordered you to take this psychiatric evaluation that you are guilty. And I said, Your Honor, no final presentations have been made by the lawyers. When I went to Toronto to have a psychiatric evaluation done there and came back in front of you in March the 25th, you told me that I had jumped the gun, and you said no decisions were made yet. And I apologized and said maybe I had overreacted here in your courtroom. But now today, on April the 8th, you're telling me that you had decided I was guilty before you even ordered the psychiatric evaluation. And we're still not gotten to the final arguments from the lawyers. So I'm very, very perplexed now as to where I sit. I have a doctor that's recommending that I'd be hospitalized at the Waterford Mental Hospital and given a medical prescription constantly, which is, from what I understand and what I've been told, is a drastic measure and very powerful pills. And as far as I can see, and I hope you people can see, is that I'm as sane as you are. And I like to think maybe more so than the people who have ordered this evaluation and the ones who gave it. I don't think anyone could talk to any person and evaluate and know who they are within an hour. God himself couldn't do that, I don't think. And I certainly don't think anyone in this province who's a doctor or in a class, a social class, of the people that I'm accusing here, who is constantly referred to in the reports and in court as the Honorable Justice Hickman, after he's retired since 2000. And in my case, a victim of abuse and a victim and persecuted by the system. And I'm immediately, when that's mentioned, feel degraded. And for me, this man is a child rapist. And a DNA test will prove that. So now, until I go back to court on the 21st of April, I don't know basically where I stand. I have spoken with, or a person has communicated me on behalf of Dr. McKay saying that she couldn't get her 4-person group together by that time to give me a further evaluation. I don't have the money to pay for it, and I don't have the money to even get back to Toronto again and have it done. So I'm basically stuck here in Newfoundland. I'm left with a decision by the judge that I'm guilty already, and I have a doctor that's recommending that I'd be put in a mental institution and kept there until they see fit to let me out. That scares me even more than the decision to force me to do this. I ask everyone please to look at the situation. See, I'm here in Newfoundland accusing the most powerful legal person in this province for 34 years, from Justice Minister to Chief Justice of our Supreme Court. Lawyers are friends of his, judges who he's appointed, and politicians who are his playmates. And I'm here on my own, being represented by a legal aid lawyer who is also paid by the government, and basically sitting in a courtroom alone. There's not one word been published about my situation, and to be perfectly honest, the silence is deafening.